Welcome to our latest edition of BookTrib After Dark, a Merrill Moss Media production. Today we have the absolute pleasure of chatting with New York Times bestselling author Melissa Foster about her 1001 Dark Nights release, Daring Her Love. It's a Bradens novella. Thank you so much for joining us today, Melissa. It's a pleasure to have you here.
I'm excited to be here and to talk with everybody.
Hi, everybody. We see people signing in and asking questions already, which is always awesome. So before we start taking questions from the audience, I wanted just to have you bring us up to speed on Daring Her Love and share a little background on the Bradens, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure, absolutely. The Bradens are the second family in my Love and Bloom romance series, and they follow the Snow Sisters. And the way the Bradens started were with just six, what I call the original Bradens, but they're the Weston Bradens of Weston, Colorado, and then we've since added Braden cousins, so I think we're up to 18 Bradens.
Wow.
Um, Yeah, and Kat came along. She was best friends with Brianna Hart,
Mm-hmm.
who fell in love with Hugh Braden, and that's how
Mm-hmm.
Daring Her Love came to be. I fell in love with her as a side character, and I wanted to bring her to life and give her a happy ending.
Mm-hmm.
Happily ever after is probably a better way to put that. Although they both got very nice happy endings. so,
Excellent.
um, so that's how they came about.
Great. And when do Kat and Eric, the main characters in this book, when do they first meet? Can you kind of tell us about that scene without giving away
Yeah,
too much?
absolutely. They meet during a storm when they're both waiting for a plane to take off. They're waiting for their ride to go to Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
They don't realize that they're both headed to the same location. Eric spots Kat across the bar, and Kat spots him, and instantly there are sparks.
Mm-hmm.
And they both, I think Kat tries to fight it for a little bit, but Eric is just irresistible, and they end
Yeah.
up talking a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
then they can't keep their hands off of each other, and it's evident from the
Yeah.
moment that he sits down to talk with her. So they end up having this really hot combustible scene in the bathroom.
Ah.
So that's how it starts, and
Yeah.
Kat has been trying to be the good girl, so she vows that she's going to never do this again. She's going to forget him, but Eric wants nothing to do with forgetting, and he's not about to let her forget him either.
Excellent. Um, just in terms of character development, do you have any techniques you can share? Like, do you create like vision boards? Do you find like pictures of celebrities and kind of base it off of that? Like, how do you kind
Um,
of develop your characters?
am I allowed to show you something on the video with a quick turn
Yeah,
of my
of
thing?
course.
Okay, so I don't know if you
Oh,
can
that's
see this, but this
awesome.
is my wall of inspiration. These are my men.
I see
I,
some
I
hunks, yes.
yeah, there are quite a few, and everyone in my husband primarily. I say everyone because my kids will point them out, but my husband primarily. When there are hot guys in magazines. Or in the newspaper, we take them out and we put them on the wall, and it's really cute to see my husband say, "What do you think? Is he hunk worthy?" So that's one way. I'm a very visual person, so a lot
Yeah.
of it will start with that visual image, and then I
Hmm.
can't. I don't think I can show you my monitor. Maybe I can. Hold on a minute. No, you really can't see it. So that was a waste.
I
Sorry,
sort of
guys.
saw a
Um,
glimpse, but it's okay.
well, on my monitor, I keep pictures of. I find visual images that look like what I think my characters would look like based on their
Yeah.
personality that I have in my head. And then I keep pictures of everything, their locations, what they wear, their pets, their houses, so just a lot
Awesome.
of visual stimuli.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that when they first come to me, when my characters first come to me, they're this is going to make me sound crazy, but they really are so loud and so obstinate about how they want to be presented that
Hmm.
if I wanted to even change a really strong heroine to a little bit weaker or a little bit more feminine, it wouldn't work because they really do guide me. Like I give myself over to
Yeah.
them and then they take me there.
That's awesome. Rachel Gray, she's kind of going off of what I was just asking, but she said, "Who inspired you as the character of Eric?" And she says, "Swoon." So she obviously took a
I
liking to
love
you.
Eric.
Thanks,
I
Rachel.
love Eric. I mean, honestly, who inspired me was Hugh Braden because I knew that Hugh Braden would have had a friend who was just like Eric. but I
Yeah.
took the name from one of our street team members' husbands. So
Oh,
I was talking,
fantastic.
yeah, we were posting pictures in my street team. We post pictures of hot guys pretty often. And one
Hmm.
day she posted a picture of her husband and she said, this is my, this is my hero. And so we started talking and we talked about his personality traits and the things that he did. And so I took a lot of that too when I first came up with the story for Eric. And of
Hmm.
course I stole his name. So that's where they came from.
Excellent. And speaking of the street team, for anyone who isn't familiar with, what that is, can you tell us more about your street team and, how you got
Sure.
it started? And
Sure.
cool.
A street team is really like a big fan club, and so for somebody like
Yeah.
me who loves to talk, it's a great place to just chat about the books and the characters and inspiration. And I do a lot of fun things with my street team. Like we'll talk about different story ideas, and sometimes they'll say something to me that just zips me right off into Storyland. And so I
Awesome.
include that in the book, and then of course I acknowledge them. Like I think
Yeah.
in Seized by Love, we had a naked baker, and she had. Can I curse on this? Is that okay? I don't know if I can or not, but
Sure.
she had a fuck it list, and she had a lick it list, and those came directly from a street team member. And so that is for me, that's the most fun part. But also the essence of a street team is that they really do help you spread the word for your books.
Hmm.
So they help share social media and then,
Right.
talk your books up at other places and share information as we post it, that sort of thing as well. So it's kind of twofold.
Yeah. Speaking of social media, where can we find you the most? Are you a Twitter girl? Are you all over Facebook? What do
I'm an
you kind of?
everything girl.
Okay.
I'm a social media addict. So you can
Awesome.
always find me on Facebook. Literally, I'm on there, I don't know, 15 times an hour for the entire
Hmm.
day and sometimes through the
Awesome.
night. And Twitter, of course, I'm on Twitter every day, the same
Hmm.
as Facebook. I do Pinterest and I do Instagram and Google Plus as well.
Who are some of your favorite authors that you follow on social media? Like, who do you always kind of look for new updates and
That's
stuff?
a really hard question because I don't
You
follow just
avoid
one
looking?
author. Like I don't follow an author. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I follow books or stories, and that varies depending on what I'm interested in at the
Yeah.
moment. And I try not to read the same kind of books that I'm writing. So
Yeah.
oftentimes I'll pick up something like a Diane Chamberlain book, which isn't, a hot romance book, but it
Hmm.
gives my mind someplace else to go. Um,
Right.
so I don't really follow what other authors are posting for their books because
Yeah.
I follow them, I do follow them on Amazon, so I get the emails, as
Yeah,
soon as their books
exactly.
come available.
Hmm. That makes sense. Um, are there any authors that you've met maybe at a conference in real life where you had like a fangirl moment and you just were like, oh my
Yeah.
God, and lost it? Was there anyone that you've ever come
I didn't
across?
lose it, luckily, but when I met Lisa C,
Made it
I was
cool.
over the moon. I don't know if you know who she is,
Mhm.
but she, I just gave you the wrong name too. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I was thinking, I was thinking of Lisa C, but it wasn't Lisa that I met. But I met Lisa online actually. She came and did
Oh,
a chat for one of my groups, and she was wonderful too. But she's one of my favorite authors. Lisa Genova, I actually met while I was
yes.
in Cape Cod at one of her
Hmm.
talks, and she's wonderful. And I met her right after she got her first contract
Oh,
for
wow.
publishing. And so we were both kind of in the like moving at the same, in the same place as our careers as we started getting going.
Hmm.
And I didn't I did a bit of fangirling, took some pictures, that kind of stuff, but I think I didn't. I think I was able to form a sentence, which was good.
That's amazing. Jillian has a couple questions. Hi,
Sure.
Jillian. She says, have you ever been behind the scenes at a race? Because Eric, the main character, is a race
I
car
have
driver.
not, but I spent a lot of video time behind the scenes at the races and
Yeah.
talked to a lot of people who have been behind the scenes at the races. But no,
Hmm.
I didn't. I don't have a. I write a book about every 3 or 4 weeks, and so I don't have a lot of
Wow.
time to be able to go out and do the fun things that
Right.
I would like to do.
You're not like stalking around at race car,
No,
events.
but that's a
She's
really
she's
fun
busy,
idea, isn't
people.
it?
Yeah. She wants to know, are there any real race car drivers who have inspired your characters, or is this totally, like,
No, this is
unrelated?
really just from my head. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
from my head.
Awesome. Someone on the side said, I love Hugh.
Yes.
People are saying
Oh,
hi.
yay. He's he was one of my favorite guys because I never expected him to be as emotionally compelling as he was, and so I was
Hmm.
really happy with his transition over the 6 books.
Yeah. Um, what are you reading right now? Is there
I
anything that you're
just
currently
finished
reading?
reading. Yeah, I just finished reading. I did read a romance novel. I read Jill Shalvis, All I Want. She's one. She is an author I can't avoid. Like if her book
Yeah.
comes out, I have to read it. You know,
You have to go
she would
by.
be a
Yeah.
go-to author no matter what I'm
Hmm.
writing. So I did just read that, and I'm not really. I have like 3 other books going, but I'm not really into any of them.
Yeah, I do that all the time, switch around.
I know. Yeah.
Did you start out in this genre? Like, can you tell us about how you kind of got started, or were you doing something totally
Sure.
different?
Sure. No, I started with women's fiction and with mystery and suspense. And I wrote
Awesome.
Megan's Way, which was literary fiction, very heart-wrenching story. And then I
Hmm.
wrote Chasing Amanda, which was it's women's fiction, but it's really suspense. And I
Yeah.
followed that path for a number of years. And then a very good friend of mine in Cape Cod dared me to write something that wouldn't make her cry. She said, I want to read something that doesn't rip my guts out. She loved the books, but they all were like so intense. And
Yeah.
so I took her up on it, and the learning curve to be able to write my very first romance, which was Sisters in Love. The learning curve for me was huge because I came from such a dark. I had just finished a thriller, which was a really dark thriller.
Wow.
I came from that side, and so my initial instinct was, okay, who can we kill? And how can we do it in a gruesome way and have
Yeah.
them come back? I wanted to do all these things
Right.
that you can't do,
Hmm.
not in romance anyway. So it was
Yeah.
it was it was really challenging. And then once I got into the challenge, and I worked with my developmental editor really to learn how to write romance. And once I got into it, I just fell head over heels. I couldn't
Yeah.
stop. I mean, I was writing 10,000 words a day on it and just cruising through. I fell in love with every one of my heroes the minute that I met them. Like I couldn't wait to write their books. And I'm
Hmm.
still there.
Yeah. So you definitely crossed from one world into a completely different one. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Did writing like the really heart-wrenching stuff and just like thriller and kind of dark stuff, did it like take a lot out of you as a writer
Oh my
or
gosh. Huge, huge, huge. Because part of what I do, I think, is very different than other authors. When I was writing Megan's Way, I had to act out scenes until I was the character, and I was
oh my gosh.
crying and I was on the ground. And once I was in that mode, then I could write the scene well enough that I felt like it conveyed on paper.
You're
So
a
when I wrote
yeah.
the when I wrote the thriller, it was so dark that I really felt by the end of every day, I was like exhausted, like worn out,
Wow.
and like I had been scared the whole day. So it
Yeah.
was a whole different experience than writing romance, which, by the way, now that I think about it, this is such a good side effect with romance because then you're in these
Yeah.
good moods all the time and very
Yeah.
sexy moods at night, which is fun.
Yeah. That's beneficial. That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like a method actor slash method writer. I love it.
I don't know. It works for me. I know it's a little crazy, but it works
I
for me.
like it. Um, so why did you decide to make Eric a race car driver? Was it just like a random thing that popped in your head, or how'd you come to that
No, no.
decision?
When I was thinking about Kat and who she would do well with, I kept
Hmm.
feeling like Hugh was part of her story. And in talking with, not talking with, but myself, kind of working through where I wanted to see her story go, it kept coming back to Hugh and Brianna. And
Yeah.
from that, I just felt like that was the connection. Like I just knew that's who, something about it, that's who she needed to be with.
Yeah. It's crazy how it just kind of comes together.
It's so insane. If you ever sat in my head for a day, you would never want to be there again.
There's like five universes.
Yes, and like they never die. I think about them all night
Yeah.
long. I kind of, wake up and take notes and send myself texts about different characters and things I
Hmm.
want them to do in future books, and it's
Yeah.
fun. I love it.
Awesome. Are you a plotter or a pantser? Do you have to?
Total pantser.
Yeah.
Total pantser. When I try to plot, I stop, like it stagnates me,
Huh.
and I can't write. It's like I feel I get scared. And then I rebel, of course, and
Yeah.
go in like the completely opposite direction. I try. I really do try. Every book I say I'm going to plot out the first half of the book, and then it'll make me write a little better, a little cleaner. But I just don't work that way. My
Yeah.
characters, they take over, and then they go the direction they want, no matter what I want to do.
Yeah. That's so crazy. You just go with
It's
it.
good. I love it.
Yeah. Now, Tina has a great question. She says, did you enjoy co-writing? And she says, I truly enjoyed your books with Bella Andre.
Ah, yes, I enjoyed co-writing. It was a whole different experience than writing a
Hmm.
book on my own, so it was fun.
Yeah. And we have another question from Rachel. She says, out of all of your books, which one do you love the most?
You
It's a tough
can't ask
question.
me that. That's
I
like
know,
asking
right?
me who my favorite child is. There's no
I
way I can
know.
answer it. I really can't. And the truth is, every book that I write, I fall like if I don't fall deeply for the characters, I don't publish that book. I put it aside and I either rewrite it or move on to the next book. And I've done that a
Yeah.
number of times. So I can't. I really can't say which one is my favorite because I really fall for every one of them because I won't
Yeah.
publish one unless I do.
Exactly. It is like your child. You don't want to offend anybody.
It is. I've
Do you
given
have
birth
any,
to like 40 kids.
yeah. Do you have any events coming up that you're going to be attending? Any conferences? Are you doing any book signings? Or are you just busy writing?
I am, yeah. I did conferences this past year, and so right now I'm really focused just on writing
Yep.
and writing the best books that I can at the moment. But I
Mhm.
do, I am happy to autograph any books on Kindle Graph, or I think it's called Author Graph actually. And so
Awesome.
if readers want to send in a note, I can sign that
Okay.
way, and then it goes directly to their Kindle.
Oh, fantastic. You
Yeah.
guys heard it here. That's awesome. Do you have a favorite local bookstore? Are you a Barnes& and Noble girl? Do you have like an indie bookstore that you love to go to?
That's a good question. We live in such a small town. The only bookstore that's even near us, well, we have a used bookstore. I think it's called
Yeah.
Second and Charles. Yeah, and
Hmm.
then we have Books a Million, which our
Oh,
Books a
yeah.
Million is it's tiny, but my husband and I go
Good.
in and spend hours. I mean, it's like as big as my office. It's really small. But we go in there for hours and just, read and hang out and look
Yeah.
at books, and it's one of my favorite things. But we've lost so many bookstores. It's really sad.
Yeah. What does he read? Does he have like a genre that he always goes for?
Yeah, my husband loves to read war stories.
Oh,
He loves
cool. Yeah.
war stories. Yeah, and he
Mhm.
loves biographies.
Yep.
He read all of my standalone novels and he loved them. And he takes the first book out of every box when we get the books. So
Oh,
he
awesome.
has a bookshelf that's just my books. And he says as soon as he's retired, he's going to read them straight through, one after another. But he lives them with me. Like he'll come home.
Yeah.
He's a physician. He'll come home at lunchtime or after work and ask me to read him chapters, and he'll sort of brainstorm with me through some things. And
Oh,
he
that's
of course is
awesome.
the greatest research partner in the world. So
Yeah.
always up for anything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's your writing space like that you work in every day? Because I know everybody has their own special spot that
Do
they
you want
like
me
to
to
write
show it
in.
to you? I'm sitting in it. Do you
Yeah.
want me to show it to you? Okay, first, don't judge. That's all I will say.
Hey, Judge.
Let me, hold on, I'm stuck. Let me get you unplugged here for a second.
Awesome.
Okay, so I just turned off my big monitor, so you're not going to be able to see a picture on it. But I
Mhm.
work on my laptop, and then I have this big
Uh-huh.
monitor, and it's
Uh-huh.
dark now, but I have these great windows.
Yeah.
And then I have can you see my treadmill desk? Okay, so that's my
Yeah.
treadmill
Oh, that's
desk.
awesome.
Yep, and I've got an iMac on it.
Cool.
And you'll see, this is how writers live. See those shoes down there? They're not organized, right? I kick them
Yeah.
off under my desk and I never
Yeah.
carry them upstairs. One day my husband will. Okay, then I have all my inspirational flags and stuff up there, all
Wonderful.
positive
Yeah, positive
affirmation
quotes.
things. And then you can
Awesome.
see I have all my swag and boxes of books, right? And then my
Yeah.
wall of inspiration,
Yeah.
which is
Lots of
nice.
abs. I see some abs.
Lots of abs, always abs. And then, of course, that. So
Libra.
there you go. There you
Woo.
have it.
That's great. I don't think any author has actually spun their laptop around to show us. I
Yeah,
think
sorry about that.
everybody
I don't
should from
sit
now on.
still well.
No, it's a good idea. Thank you for that. We had a little virtual tour. Um, so what are some things, like 3 things, let's say, that you need beside you while you're writing in your space?
Music loud.
Music
I need
loud.
music
Okay.
loud. Yes, very
Mhm.
loud, and it has to be on. If it's not on, I can't even start to think. It just doesn't work for me. And chocolate, kind of
Yeah.
one of my things.
It'll pick me up.
And I guess the only other thing would be, a big drink. I always have a drink with me. That's
Yeah.
about it. If I have chocolate and music, I'm happy.
Mhm. Do you make special playlists for each book, or is it always just a mix?
No, I have, well, we do make playlists for each book, but that's not what I listen to while I'm writing. While I'm writing, I have like 500 songs on my playlist, so I just let it play the whole time because I'll sit for 15 hours.
Mhm.
But then afterwards, we've been trying to put together playlists. One of my fans, Carrie Baranowski, has put together wonderful playlists for most of my books already.
Mhm. Oh, that's awesome. Do you know
Yeah.
any of the? Can you remember any of the songs on the playlist that she does?
Um, I could pull them up and tell you. It depends which book. I mean, really we go through each one and
That's
find the
awesome.
songs that work best with it. I think the one that sticks to me the most is Hunter Hayes's song. Oh, what is the, now I'm drawing a blank. Oh my gosh, I can't even come up with the name of it now. But it was one of the ones I listened to over and over and over, like almost on rerun while I was writing Lovers at Heart. But now I can't remember the name of it, so that's
At your
age
treadmill
getting at me.
desk, just like,
Yeah,
woo.
yeah. I do the
Awesome.
treadmill for 2 hours while I'm writing.
Yeah, I would love to. I need one of those. I think
Oh,
they're
it's
amazing.
wonderful.
Yeah.
I really recommend it to anybody.
Hmm. Um, do you have any tips for writers looking to get published who haven't, broken through yet?
I think the biggest advice I would have for aspiring authors is to write what you're passionate about because there are
Hmm.
so many people chasing trends. But when
Yeah.
you chase a trend, if you're not writing from your passion about that story, I feel like that
Exactly.
really comes out in the writing. And
Hmm.
so if you're just jumping from trend to trend,
Yeah.
I feel
You're
like
like,
writers don't really give themselves a chance to find their true voice.
yeah, you're kind of
So
faking it maybe a little bit, trying to,
yeah,
yeah.
so that would be my best piece of advice. And then the second, of course, is never to be in a rush to publish.
Yeah.
Wait until your book is edited and clean and it's the best book you can
Hmm.
put out there. Because if you put out a bad book, you run the risk of readers hating it and never coming back and giving you another try. So even
Exactly.
if it takes you 6 months longer to get the best book out, it's worth
Yeah.
it in the end because
Yeah.
readers get a clean, good book.
Absolutely. How long did it take you to get your first book published? Was it like a crazy, journey?
It was, well, my very first book I published on my own. I went the
Awesome.
route yeah, I went the route of, this was back in 2009 when
Yeah, when it
people
first.
really frowned upon self-publishing. Like
Yeah.
people would look at me and go, "Oh, you didn't really publish then." And I'm thinking, "Really? How can you say that?"
Yeah.
Um, so I probably could have, as with all authors, I probably could have wallpapered a room with rejection notices and requests for full manuscripts and everything else.
Right.
And when I sat down and really started talking to agents and to editors, there was such a um, once you publish traditionally,
Yeah.
you give up, your not only your rights to that story, but you really are kind of bound to make the changes that they want you to. And so there's a lot
Right.
of freedom in not going that route
Mm-hmm.
and keeping that control. So even though it was
Absolutely.
a long road to get started. It wasn't, once I got started and got over the fear of getting my work out there, although I have to tell you, I'm still not over that fear. Every time I publish a book, I hold my breath that people will like it. But once I started, it was a much, it was an easier process. And I have a great team behind me with, editors and cover artists and that sort of thing. So I'm very lucky.
How involved are you with the cover art? Or do you just kind of give a little bit of a idea, or are you totally hands-on?
Oh, totally. I drive my cover artists. I have 2 cover artists that I work with, and I drive them insane. I mean, I'm surprised that they will still work with me because I'm such a pain in the ass. I really am. I need to make sure that the men are manly looking, and I hired 36 models from LA, and I hired a film company to do the covers and the shoots, and we did we did interviews with all the applicants. There were like hundreds of them. It was a lot of fun. But I'm that picky. I have to make sure that whoever is on the cover is going to be the person in the story.
Yeah.
That's really critical for me. And then I tweak, and I think I tweak until I feel like my cover artist is going to hate me, and then I stop.
Wow.
But
that's awesome. I'm sure they want it to look perfect too. So
yeah, and they're wonderful. I have to tell you, I feel like I have the best cover artists around. I just love them.
Yeah. Are there any secondary characters that are screaming at you in your head that are you're dying to write about for future books?
Oh yes, absolutely. Regina and Mitch from Game of Love, the Remingtons. I cannot wait to write about them. Yeah. Cal, who is from Destined for Love. No, I'm sorry, he was in Slope of Love, I think. Cal is one of Rex Braden's friends, and I cannot wait to write his story. I'm super excited about writing that one too. And I just wrote River of Love, and I met Kiki and Sin. His name is Sinclair, but we call him Sin. Nice. Vernon, and I fell in love with them both. They're brother and sister, so they will definitely be coming up in other books. So yeah, it happens all the time. I mean, I have a hard time creating characters that I don't want to carry forward. Yeah. I usually want to.
You have a million of them screaming at you to let us back. We want to make another appearance. So how about like picking names? Do you have any special like process that you go through?
This is such a hard thing for me. Okay, so for me, a name is probably more important than the storyline. I mean, I have to have that name. If I don't have the right name, I can't write the book. And I know that's ridiculous. A lot of people will just put in like Sally and then change it later. It doesn't work for me. I have to have the right name. So I search, baby name things online, and I have lists and lists and lists of names. And actually, I turn to my street team and I turn to my fans on Facebook, and I'm always asking for names of characters, names of, like if I have a bar, I'll ask them to help me name it. And then I have a street team member by the name of Christy who has been wonderful. And every time I ask for these things, she creates lists for me and sends them over. So I can refer to that and try and pick out names as well.
Awesome. And I know that you were just talking about some of the stuff that you're working on. So what's coming out next? What are we going to see next?
Okay, so the next book is I just released 6 books in 6 weeks. So we just got through the whole Wild Boys After Dark series, and of course Daring Her Love, the Bradens Novella, and Seized by Love, which was the first book in the Riders series. So January 13th is the next release, and that's Surrender My Love, and that's Cole Braden. And Cole Braden is part of the Bradens at Peaceful Harbor, one of the cousins to the original Weston Braden. So I'm really excited to bring that to readers because this is a new family, the second book in the new family of the Bradens. I love Cole so much, and he's a physician, so I will say that I've taken little bits of my husband and put him into Cole. People ask me about that all the time, and I usually, I'm sure he's in every book. But there were some things about him, that I did put into this one. And then in February, I have Seaside Embrace, which is a super sexy book about these 2 players who are fighting, settling down, at all, but they can't resist each other. And that's Hunter LaCrue and Jana Garner, and I think readers are going to love that.
Awesome. Wow, a lot of stuff coming up
Yeah.
for the new year. Um, Jillian has another question. She says, how do you keep track of such a big group of characters and their connections?
Okay. Hold on. I have to reach. All right. So, first of all, for me, they live in my head. So they never
Yeah.
leave me. And I
Yes.
do have to ask readers sometimes. I'll say, do you remember if this person, whatever, got married or had this happen in this book? If I forget. But I put together, you see that? A
Love and Bloom
Love and
series
Bloom
guide.
series
Oh,
guide. Uh-huh.
wow.
And it's paperback and it's in color for my readers. It has every book, every
That's such a good
summary, and then it
idea.
has a picture of the characters, their main information, like who they are, their age, their hair color, what they do for a job. And then the books that have already been published, let's see, some of them I leave it, so all of them have a place for readers to take notes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they can write down if they have children, the book they get engaged in, because my characters carry forward to other
Yeah.
books and other series, and then pets and other notes. So this
Oh,
is like a
sweet.
gold mine. This is not the one I use. This is a clean one.
Okay.
But I take notes in it, and then I have an assistant who goes through and makes a spreadsheet so that I can refer to that, but I never do. If I need something, I just go back and
Yeah.
search it in my books or look at this.
So that is available to fans, that
This
guidebook.
is available to fans in paperback. It's also available on Kindle, but I
Awesome.
suggest getting a paperback because the notes are so wonderful because if you're 6 books in and then you find out that somebody had a baby, you want to go back and write about it. It's
Exactly.
just better to have it in paperback. And I
Yeah.
did publish it in color and in black and white so that
Mhm.
because it's a little pricey in color, just
Yeah.
publishing in color is more expensive.
Mhm.
And it's much cheaper in black and white.
Yeah. Awesome. I've never seen anyone do that before. I love it. So
Well, wait,
unique.
have you seen, I have to show you this because this is so much fun. Have you seen my calendars?
No.
Wait, yeah, oh yeah. Oh,
Ooh,
please,
tats.
you have not seen my
Hello.
calendars. I have calendars for all my books.
It's
That have all the
amazing.
heroes. I have t-shirts. If you go on my website, you'll see a shop.
Yeah.
We have bags, we have hats, we have lots of fun things for, iPhone covers and
Oh, sweet.
Android phone covers, all sorts of things.
Oh my God, I love it. So
Yeah.
my last question before the little rapid fire that we're gonna do, can you just
Okay.
kind of describe the family dynamic of the Bradens? Like, is it like
Oh,
your family? Like,
yeah.
what's it kind of all about?
Um, the Bradens are in some ways like my family, and in some ways like I wish my family was.
Yeah.
I've got 6 brothers, so I grew up with a
Hmm.
huge family, and we're
Yeah.
all very close. It's a wonderful close family.
Great.
And the Bradens are all very close, and they call each other on their shit, which I think is really important for any family because it's real. We do
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah.
That's just what we do. But we also are, the loyalty is there between every
Hmm.
family member, even if they're having a horrible time and arguing and feel like they're on opposite ends. They always know that at the end of the day, they're there for each other.
Hmm.
Family knows no boundaries is what Hal Braden is known for saying. That's
Yeah.
his kind of the family statement. Family knows no boundaries, and that's really true. I mean, that's how it is with the Bradens. And they take in others, which I really, this is one thing I really love about them. And you'll
Yeah.
see it in the other books, is that they take in other people like Eric. They took Eric
Yep.
into the family. They took in my Wild Boys After Dark series, the
Hmm.
boys grew up going back to the Braden Ranch for 2 weeks every summer. And, they had to work hard, but they worked hard and they played hard and they made these
Yeah.
lifelong friendships and learned things about loyalty and family and love and trust and all of those things are important. So,
Yeah.
and they're all they're a little overprotective of each other.
Of
But
course, like all
they're,
families.
yeah, but they're real too. I think it's important that, I don't play off the family members as each being perfect because nobody's perfect. I mean,
Nope.
they might be more perfect than our real life heroes in a lot of
Yeah.
ways because they have more money or they're always good looking, but this is the fantasy. We want that.
Exactly.
But they all have their weaknesses and they typically will own up to them even if it takes them a while to get there.
Hmm.
So I love
Fantastic.
them. I want to be a Braden.
Yeah. You're like, I would like to join the family.
Yes, I really do.
So I have some quick rapid fire questions that we'll do
Okay.
before we say bye.
Okay.
Would you rather read a bodice ripper or a contemporary romance?
Oh God, that depends on what mood I'm in. How
I
can I
know.
answer that? I mean, come on, there are some nights when you just feel like a vixen, and there are some nights when you feel like, okay, let's just take a little slower. I don't
How do
know.
you feel right now? What do you feel like right now?
Ice cream. I just need ice cream. So maybe bodice ripper.
Nice. Villain or hero? What do you like?
I love bad boys, so a little bit of both. I
Yeah.
really do. I love
Hmm.
that.
Roses or orchids?
Orchids, absolutely.
Me too.
I'm not a big rose girl, and I'm not a diamond girl.
No, me either. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wine or cocktails? Wine or
Uh,
booze?
hmm, that's such a hard question. Um, Hmm. There are times when you just need wine, like at the end of the day,
I
but
know,
then there are
I
times that you want cocktails because you want to make that end of the day spicier.
know.
So, both.
You do. It's crucial. It really is.
Yeah.
Lipstick or mascara? Do you have one that is a go-to that you
Oh
need
my
to
God,
wear every
neither. I
day?
don't wear makeup.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's horrible to say, but I mean, I so rarely
Yeah.
make. I can't wear lipstick. I talk it off.
Yeah, no. I'm a mascara person, I think, but it's rare that you see either. Unless I'm doing a live chat and I put my my
Yeah.
face on. Chocolate or vanilla?
Oh God, you must not know me.
Well, she
Chocolate.
knows. She has chocolate. That's one of the three things she has on her desk.
Yeah.
Would you want to escape to the beach or the mountains?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So the mountains if the Bradens are there, but typically I'm the beach girl and it's got to be Cape Cod. No place else will do
Yes.
for me. Yeah.
Where do you go in Cape Cod? Is there like
We
one
have a place up
particular?
in, yeah, well, we stay in Wellfleet and we have a place up in
Nice.
Truro and in the East Ham.
Yeah.
So that
We
whole lower Cape,
yeah.
I lost
Yeah, we
you.
used to go to Dennis every year. We loved
Oh yeah.
Dennis when I was a kid. Yeah.
Dennis is nice. It's
Awesome.
very different than the lower Cape though. I think
Yeah,
Provincetown is like
it
my
is.
favorite place on earth.
Mm-hmm. It's wild.
Yeah, oh, I love it. I love it. And
Awesome.
it's in so many of my books.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I wanted to thank you again for joining us. It's been a great time, and thank you everybody for tuning in. And those were awesome, fun questions. And
Thank you so
in
much.
case anyone who's just coming in here, we're talking about Daring Her Love, a Braden novella from her series and 1001 Dark Nights. And you guys can rewatch this at any time. So again, thank you so much, guys. Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you so much, Amanda. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, take care.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.